This was none of the above. A frenzy of stomping footsteps ran up the stairs faster than anything I'd ever heard before. But that wasn't the only sound. A second set of footsteps audibly accompanied the first, only these made a dragging and pulling sound. I barely had time to open the door before Maddie planted herself before me. The look on her face betrayed her small frame, making her seem 10 feet tall and bulletproof. My mind struggled with how she found the strength to get up here so fast. It seemed lately she could hardly walk a straight line without my assistance. My eyes searched behind her, looking for the second set of footsteps, but I found nothing. "Danny baby, I can't take this anymore. We have to act now," Maddie pleaded. How could she look into my very own eyes and see someone else? My hand flew to my forehead in frustration. When I decided to stay and work things out when we were younger, I never imagined this would come back like it has now. It was supposed to be over. She had many phases throughout her long life. Why did she have to get stuck in the days she was with Daniel? How was that fair to me? Why did I have to suffer through this again? It didn't seem to bother her in the least, but I guess that's why some refer to Alzheimer's as the ignorance in bliss disease. It's supposedly harder on us than it is on them. Yet, she continued. "If he finds out, he will kill me, Danny. You have to believe me. He'd rather me be dead than be with you. Maddie, honey, please stop it," I pleaded gently. Daniel is dead. Tears sparkled in the corners of her dull grey eyes before traveling the roadmap of wrinkles on her cheeks. "Why would you say that, Danny? You know I can't live without you. Not a happy life anyway." That was it for me. Without the patience for one more audible word, I left her there, determined to give her the space I knew she wasn't even capable of adequately using. Hours later, as the weather slept outside and the silence of the absence of rain lashed against the windows like icy fingers, my torment reached its zenith. Sitting in our kitchen alone in the darkness, I could feel the tendrils of insane helplessness creeping ever closer, threatening to haunt my soul forever. Desperate for relief, I ventured into the heart of the house to the person who once brought me peace but now brought me sadness, to Maddie. She looked so innocent and frail, tossing and turning in our bed. As I approached her bedside, an unexpected sense of dread washed over me, chilling me to the bones. The room seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, the air heavy with the weight of unspoken horrors that had become our day-to-day life. And there, amidst the darkness, I finally saw the source of it. A figure loomed over Maddie's side of the bed, its features twistedly grotesque but recognizable all the same: Daniel. Heart pounding, I found myself stumbling backward, my mind reeling with confusion and anguish. I tried to scream, but no sound escaped my lips. The figure drew nearer to Maddie, his shadowy form engulfing the entire room in darkness. In that moment, I understood what it felt like to be on the precipice of madness, teetering on the edge of oblivion. But then, a voice pierced the darkness, cutting through the cacophony of fear and despair. It was Maddie, her voice soft and gentle, calling out from the depths of her confusion. And in that moment, I had found my anchor, a lifeline amidst the chaos at least for a little while. With Maddie's voice as my guide, I gathered the courage to face the darkness head-on. I reached out to my wife, taking her trembling hand in my own, and with the presence of her spirit, I confronted the horrors that lurked within the shadows. "Demon, be gone," I commanded. And all at once, Daniel's visage began to change. He roared at me hatefully as the ethereal atmosphere around him began to falter and fade. It seemed like it was causing him pain, but that didn't make sense to me. After all, his lifeless nervous system had either been burned or rotted away ages ago. Then again, that exact line of reasoning tells me what I see before me is just as outlandish. It took me longer than necessary to make out what she was trying to tell me. The basement. I settled her down, brought her some water and got her all tucked back into bed. My heart told me I should let it go, that whatever I'd find in the basement had nothing helpful to offer me. Meanwhile, my brain screamed at me to investigate. I told myself that whatever had been put in that basement was placed there long ago and no longer had the power to hurt me. Oh, how wrong I was. The basement stairs were always so steep that even when I had the surest footing, I tried to avoid them. My mind split between taking one step at a time and not slipping the entire flight down. However, I made it. The room reeked of dust and mildew, the smell of utter abandonment. Cobwebs hung from just about every corner, the spiders that inhabited them having left long ago. I scanned the room for anything out of place and found nothing. What I did find, however, was an area of the basement that wasn't as dusty as the rest. Though how she managed to get up and down the stairs was a mystery to me, it was apparent that someone had been in this area more often than the others. My hands fumbled around, searching for any kind of clue at all. Papers flew, and forgotten stored items were tossed aside. The last sheet of paper, one of Toren's old school papers, revealed Maddie's old family Bible, which seemed oddly used for how long it had sat down here. I opened the book with trembling hands, and my entire world changed. The few mysteries over the decades of our lives instantly clicked into place the moment the cover was opened, especially my alarming health problems of late. The pages of the book had been cut, revealing a hollow space inside. Only it wasn't empty. There, safely nestled in its hiding spot, was a half-empty bottle of arsenic. I got out my phone and googled the effects of arsenicosis as I tried to mentally absorb the situation. Unfortunately, I was shaking so badly that it took me more tries than I'd like to admit. Skin lesions. One of the most visible signs of chronic arsenic poisoning is the development of skin lesions. These may appear as discolored patches, rough, thickened, or wart-like growths, and can progress to more severe conditions like hyperkeratosis, thickening of the skin, and eventually skin cancer. I stared down at my arms, wincing at the eggplant-shaded bruises and calloused-edged sores that appeared every now and then. Cancer. Chronic exposure to arsenic has been strongly linked to an increased risk of several types of cancer, including skin, lung, bladder, liver, and kidney cancer. Cancer, that was the last thing on the list I hadn't been tested for. I'd refused any scans or x-rays the entire year before, thinking if they didn't find anything, it meant I wouldn't have anything. Cardiovascular effects. Arsenic exposure has been associated with cardiovascular diseases such as hypertension, atherosclerosis, and ischemic heart disease. My blood pressure had always been high, so that couldn't really be used as a confirmed symptom. Reproductive and developmental effects. Fortunately for me, it was a tad too late for any of that to be a concern. I'd already had my kids, and I was about as developed as I was ever gonna get. Gastrointestinal effects. Chronic ingestion of arsenic-contaminated food or water can cause gastrointestinal symptoms such as abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and gastritis. Long-term exposure may increase the risk of gastrointestinal cancers, particularly of the liver, colon, and stomach. Again, hadn't been tested. And I've always had a somewhat sensitive stomach. Immune system dysfunction. Arsenic exposure can suppress immune function, making individuals more susceptible to infections and impairing the body's ability to mount an effective immune response against pathogens. Well, see, this one was hard to tell. When you got to be our age, your immune system was pretty much shit anyway. I put away my phone, resigned to the fact that it hadn't proved helpful. Still, although every symptom hadn't been confirmed, here it was in my very own hands. Sure, I could have thrown it away, and I damn near did. But she got strong on the days that the devil had her mind, and there wasn't any reasoning with her either. If she came down here and found this gone, only God and Lucifer know what havoc she would wreak. In her mind, I wouldn't be someone she loved. I'd be reduced back to what I was during her affair, an obstacle in her way. Something she needed to be rid of. As far as punishment goes, it seemed to have taken care of itself in a twisted way. What was I supposed to do? Call the police on my 78-year-old wife? With how the healthcare system is, there was just as much a chance of me being carted off as her. I figured emptying the bottle down the sink drain, washing it vigorously and replacing it with water was just about the best option I had. So here I'm left, sitting alone in my basement with a bottle of arsenic water in one hand and nothing but heaps of regret in the other. I'd always been thankful for her good days, when she had her memory back when I had my wife back. However, this was something else entirely. Now, It seemed like my life counted on those good days, the ones that seemed fewer and farther between as of late. Some days, I wish I could join her in her make-believe world, win her back like I did back then. I'm older now, Daniel is long dead, and I'm tired. So damn tired. Maddie's bad days were getting more consistent by the week. It seemed the light of her spirit that shined through the cracks of dementia had all but been sealed over, shut out from me forever. Her bad days were the ones where her mind took her back to the time when she was unfaithful. She wasn't mine during these times, she was his. It hurt and terrified me all at once. My sense of shame, betrayal, and heartache fought with my sense of self-preservation to live. I told myself I wanted to live, but struggled to figure out what for. This pasta was published on www.creepypastastories.com from user NM Brown.